Welcome to Loathsome Things, a horror movie podcast. My name is John. Whew. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Josh. Josh, how are you doing, sir?
Whoa. John, I am on Lexapro.
Oh, shit. Welcome to the land of the medicated.
Yes, yeah, I had to get a pill organizer and everything, and I'm now at the conclusion of my first week on a antidepressant or anti-anxiety medicine for the first time in my life, and may I say, it's not working correctly.
Yeah, Lexapro is probably one of those ones that takes a while, right, to build up in your system and actually be fully effective.
I think so. Yes.
Yes. That's how a lot of antidepressants work.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be chipper and I'm gonna be funny. I swear.
Yeah.
But if I'm not, I just wanted you to know why.
Yeah. If you start weeping openly. That's funny stuff, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Ah, yeah.
And what about you? How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I personally have been juiced to the gills with antidepressants for many years now.
Nice.
So I'm doing great. It's helped me a lot, but it took me a while to get that right cocktail down. You know, first it was like something that worked great, but it was obscenely expensive with my shitty insurance, and
yeah.
So I had to call my doctor, and it was just like, it's more depressing to think about this bill I have to pay.
Yeah.
So it's just been a whole process, but you know, we have it a better place, let's say. I still have anxiety issues for sure, but I think that's just going to be lifelong for me. So
yeah, that's what I assume is going to happen with this, is that I'm never going to just get to like a nice, happy all the time person, but like better. Also, it wasn't even a psychiatrist. It was just my like general practitioner. She was like, "Hey, we've done everything we can for your blood pressure as far as treating your blood pressure directly. Do you have anxiety?" I was like, "What? Yeah. Why do you ask?"
Don't we all?
Don't you?
Yeah, I know. It's so common now that, I mean, like, I think your dentist can prescribe it at this point. Like,
nice.
Like the pharmacist can just be like, "Here you go."
Yeah. Calm down, buddy.
Yeah. Take this and shut up.
Go
up.
home.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Go home and pay me.
Well, that's our mental health. What are we doing here otherwise?
We are, thanks to your horror movie detective skills, John, we are reviewing a very surprising little 1987 horror film directed by the one and done stylings of Tom Daley, alternately known as The Lamp or The Outing, depending on which website you're looking at it on.
Yeah, there's and then you can even like go out and buy original movie posters and remakes and shit, and some say The Outing, some say The Lamp.
Yeah.
Who knows? The artwork is cool on the posters.
Hell yeah, and in the movie.
Yeah, they got this is a strange film. I didn't know anything about this and just stumbled across it on Shudder, and it was one of those things where I was like, seen it, looks boring, too arty, don't care. You know, just like that whole thing that you do with all streaming services. And then sometimes you just get to that point where you're like, fuck it, I'll just watch this, whatever the fuck this is. It's old and looks weird, so I'll watch it. So I'm just like watching it, and we get to a certain point, and I'm like, is that Houston?
Oh, was it the point when the newspaper delivery girl is throwing newspapers in front yards, and it's like, are the addresses on little gas lanterns?
I know. I was like, that was the point. You know, you see the Museum of Natural Science sign, and I'm like, well, that That could be
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
I'm getting carried away. And then,
I'm sure Chicago has one of those.
yeah, and then they show that house, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then they're inside, and she's talking to her dad, and she's reading. She goes, "Oh man, the Astros lost again."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God, dear God, it's Houston."
It's Houston, and Pepsi is everywhere.
So many Pepsi.
Now, technically, it did tell us it was Houston earlier in the movie because the movie opens on a pirate ship.
In Galveston.
I guess Jean Lafitte was shipping containers to the Science Institute of Houston, Texas.
Jean, what about this one with the big lamp?
Yeah, put it around there next to all the dead bodies.
Why do these grapes taste so bitter?
Oh no.
Tie-in! Why is this Middle Eastern woman on my boat?
Right. What the hell? So yeah, that's this movie, and it features absolutely no one except Deborah Winters.
Yeah, who's pretty much absolutely no one. She was in The Winds of War, a project called Koch, and Tarantula's Deadly Cargo.
Yeah. She was in one that we're gonna have to watch at some point. It's called Blue Sunshine. It's a Jeff Lieberman movie, and it's about baldness. It's about a type of LSD that gives you baldness murder mania.
Oh, that movie is insane. I've never seen it. I've heard it's just completely insane. I mean, obviously, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, we're watching Blue Sunshine for sure.
Oh,
so apparently her acting career went so well that she currently resides in Houston, Texas, and is a Keller Williams real estate agent.
Nice!
The multi-talented Deborah Winters.
Well, good for her. I bet she's doing really well right now.
Probably made a lot more money than she did as an actor.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because this was at the tail end of her career. This is like one of her final credits. And so not only is she like starring in this as Mrs. Teacher Lady, but she also played both Arab women and was a producer for this film. So she went here and she was like, yes, let's make Houston, Texas, a place where I can be a horror movie star. And then she helped make this movie. And then she was like, you know what? It's real estate time.
She made this and she was like, oh man, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I need to sell some houses.
Yeah. Thank God I didn't have to show my tits in this movie.
There wasn't a shortage of them, though.
Yeah, no short tits.
Whoa. Yeah, you're right. She's the only person of note. I mean, there was, some of these people have been in other things, like Dr. Wallace has gone on to have parts in a bunch of crappy TV shows like Walker, Texas Ranger, and Nash Bridges with Don Johnson, and then like the girl Alex, she hadn't been in anything. This is her only acting credit. Andra Saint Ivyani or whatever, Ivani, whatever the fuck her
which
name
is surprising. She's very striking looking, but maybe not actorly.
Yeah, she's a little Ringwald-esque.
Whoa. What's that there? You got Ringwald? No, it's just kind of Ringwald-esque.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, a lot of these guys have credits, but nothing, like they were probably a guy who farts in toilet stall or whatever. Like,
yes.
Like the guy who plays Ted, her boyfriend, he was in 50 First Dates and a movie called Wieners. So his career...
Oh my God!
This would have been decades later, so his career arc was was a ski jump, basically.
Yeah. What a great name for a gay rom-com, 50 First Wieners.
50 First Wieners. The only other character whose name I have to mention is the opera-singing security guard played by Roy Allen Wilson, who I don't know who the fuck he is, except he sings opera.
Yep. Yeah. The guy that does the voice of the spoiler alert genie is also, he was like a made for TV movie actor. He was in a lot of pretty terrible but sort of badass looking made for TV horror and sci-fi and fantasy movies back in like the 70s.
As an actor or doing like voice work?
As an actor.
Oh, as an actor.
But I think maybe for this one they were like, we don't have a camera for you. Can you just mumble something like that we can't understand into the microphone?
While I shake this rubber genie in front of a green light. So fucking... The second it shows up on screen, it's just like, hallelujah.
And they use the same lighting effects from Poltergeist, and they make a reference to the movie Poltergeist. It's like, whoa, we're going all the places. This movie, if you can't tell, we should talk about it. Like, who should watch this movie, and what mood should they be in when they watch this movie? John?
Well, I made a short list of the kinds of folks that I thought might watch this movie. Basically, horror fanatics, of course.
Yeah.
That it made it onto Shudder, which means it was probably a minor league classic. It had a Blu-ray release, like a loving Blu-ray release on Vinegar Pants or whatever the fuck it's called, Vinegar Syndrome, including like a different cut, which I guess is the one that's on Shudder, and a making of documentary. Which is like,
shit!
Wow. Okay. Which I'd love to see, but I'm not paying $35 for the Blu-ray, so
no,
yeah, fuck that. So people, horror collectors, horror fanatics, obviously Houstonian horror fans, morons would probably,
yes,
probably benefit from this. Misogynists, rapists probably would like this movie a lot.
Man, people that hate sleeves,
yeah. Yeah, the people who hate sleeves and love gingers.
Yeah. People who think that third wave ska was the coolest.
This movie is right up your alley.
Yeah. If your favorite part of Houston is the dust-covered small streets just outside of downtown Houston, then boy, is this movie gonna be a treat for you.
Oh man, a feast for the eyes.
Oh, look at that. That'd be great for a parking lot.
Yeah, it's like, I really don't remember that much of the downtown area just being like rubble, basically.
Yeah. I didn't remember that the Houston Police Department, their like police cruiser vehicles were Houston Oiler themed.
Yeah, they were. What do they call it? Royal blue or whatever the fuck they call it.
Oh, disgusting.
Sky blue. They're just hideous. They're the worst.
Oh man, what
they kept those
idea.
they had those for years too. That was the HPD cruiser color for the longest.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we wonder why Dallas became the city to be in Texas.
Because we were froofing around in our powder blue police cars.
In our dusty, horrible streets around downtown. Welcome to beautiful downtown. Use your windshield wipers.
Fourth largest shitty in the country. Oh, man.
Oh, fuck. All right, anything else that we need to go over before we dive on into this thing? I think you covered who should watch this, entirely.
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as what mood they should be in, I said extremely high, which is not a mood, and severely depressed.
Hey!
Woohoo! Oh, man.
Nailed it!
This movie is something else.
Oh, man. All right, let's go straight into it now.
Yeah.
A growling murder shadow and a little girl carrying the lamp and its matching twinkle bracelet are the only survivors off a pirate ship bearing crates bound for the Houston Science Institute. Much later, 3 sleeveless swamp criminals invade a mansion to rob the now old little girl from earlier. They harass the old lady little girl until they knock down just the right wall to find the lamp, which one guy then... they kill the lady by axing her directly into the forehead, and then he begins rubbing the lamp while the other 2 go get naked in the dirty swimming pool after drinking her dust-covered wine. Green lamplight emits and then kills both of the dudes, but then chases the naked female swamp criminal around the house until it finally also kills her too.
Yeah.
Enter a police investigation for a moment where they talk about a sandwich, and then that's over with for no reason. The lamp now arrives at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, where Dr. Dad and daughter Alex argue about him never being around, her buying those damn Guess jeans, and how things are never the same since Mom died. Sometimes I wish you were dead, she says in front of the lamp. Also, a doctor I like to call Dr. Fodder is there, and he comments on how nice her body looks.
Dr. Fodder. The really black lab assistant with the fake white hair smokes a pipe.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Theo.
He's really into his job of he's going to be interpreting the ancient sigils on the outside of the lamp, but in order to do it, he has to reprogram the computer. Now, hold on to that sweet little nugget of information, because it's gonna come in clutch at the end.
Clutch. I love that the exhibits, the way the exhibits arrive at the museum is in a box that's basically like a cardboard box that says like junk on it or something.
Yeah, it's before we had Goodwill, you just had the Houston Museum of Natural Science.
This was back in the day before estate sales.
Yeah. And to treat it as thus, sweet daughter Alex reaches into the box of junk, which on it, actually, it is a printed label upside down that reads eggs.
Oh, that's right.
So after Alex and Dad apologize and make up and decide to go to dinner together in a really weird way, Alex decides to yoink the magical twinkle bracelet from earlier and put it on, but then it twinkles and it sparkles with green sparkle and it won't come off, so she just steals it. She then sees the lamp. So the lamp, the tip of the lamp has a hand clutching a ruby. It's a pretty cool looking lamp. We should talk about the way the lamp looks.
The lamp is cool.
It's enormous. It's like bronze or tarnished brass or whatever. The handle of it looks like a genie emitting out of the bottom of the lamp and then reaching over to clutch the top of the lamp. So that's the handle. And then the spout is a hand reaching out, palm upward, fingers fingering around a way too much ruby. And that hand and ruby are... it screws into the spout, and so it just kind of twists and goes and she's just like watching it twist around. It's twisting with glee at her, but then she's got to go with her dad, so she goes with her dad, and then now it is twisting in a room by itself. Twisty twist
Cut to what I later discovered is the Briar Grove Park neighborhood in West Houston.
Nice.
And we see the house, 10303 Sugar Hill Drive.
Nice.
And the paper boy is riding by, listening on his little portable radio to the Q Morning Zoo. Throws the newspaper. Dad comes out in his nightgown. I don't know what the... It's like his keffiyeh or whatever it's called. It's like, dude, what are you... And then he gets the paper, and then they're in the kitchen, or the little breakfast nook, whatever. Dad sets the toast on fire, fucks up the espresso by not putting coffee in it or something, and then steams everything, and he's apparently an idiot. Alex has her cereal and Diet Pepsi for breakfast. Her dad goes to get ready. He realizes he's running late and goes to get ready. She notices there's a cartoon on TV. It's like some old school cartoon where some voice is talking about polishing the lamp and summoning a genie. And she's like, ooh. And then her stupid bracelet starts lighting up and does the tingly thing. And then we cut to the museum, and the lamp is lighting up at the same time. Ooh.
Hell yeah.
Back at the house, Ron Stone, the anchor for Channel 2 News back then, is chatting away. And I was just like, oh my God, it's Ron Stone! Alex leaves with her boyfriend Ted in his 1980s VW Rabbit convertible.
Man.
Then they're driving down the dusty back roads of downtown Houston. And this car pulls up, this big 80s car pulls up behind them with this ginger bully Mike who looks like a muscular Mike Gunn. And is rear-ending them repeatedly because apparently cars aren't really valuable. I don't understand.
No.
He just keeps slamming into them over and over because he's just a dickhead. He's her ex, and he's clearly handling the breakup well. Downtown looks like a post-apocalyptic Mad Max wasteland, just because that's what it looks like. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's a roadblock with a sky blue 80s cop who busts Mike. Great. We go to the museum, where we find out that the lamp dates back, I don't know how he knows this, but to 3500 BC.
Yeah.
3,500 years before the Common Era. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But he can't read the inscription because he can't read it. Because he says something like, I cannot read the inscription, for it is because it is difficult to read. What? The fuck are you talking about?
I mean, to be fair, 3500 BC is right about the time that they invented writing, so,
Is it cuneiform? What the hell's going on?
I don't think they had writing on metal yet, so I don't know what was written, but man, it must be magic.
No, and their metalwork is fine quality in Iraq, 3500 BC.
Top notch.
Yeah. Back at school, at high school, Mike shows up. What's-her-nuts, Alex, is hanging out by the lockers, and Mike shows up and basically, body slams her, checks her into the lockers really hard.
Yeah.
But he does this because he's walking behind her, eavesdropping as she's walking down the hall, and her friend says, that guy's a jerk. And then Alex says, more like a jerk off. And then Mike slams her into the lockers, and Ted shows up, and they get into a fight, more locker slamming. Mike's bro jumps in, and then Mike whips out his butterfly knife, which he pretends to open, and then they zoom in on a person who can actually open a butterfly knife. Yeah. And you see them go, and then back to Mike holding the knife. And just as he's about to knife Ted, apparently, Mrs. Winters shows up, the teacher, Mrs. Farrell, Deborah Winters. Yeah. Mrs. Farrell shows up with a wooden pole and basically WWF flips Mike in the balls onto the floor with the fucking pole. And everybody's like, yay!
She goes, like, entirely Jackie Chan on this guy. It's amazing.
It's like, what is this lady, a ninja? It's amazing. The principal shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, you better be careful, son, or you're gonna get kicked out of school, or whatever he says. And Mike says, you ain't about to kick me out, N-word. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
What the fuck? He just said that. That was brutal. And then the principal says, son, do you want to know the meaning of black power? Because if you do, I'll wipe the floor with your ugly white ass.
Oh, God.
I was like, that didn't make up for it. You didn't need to use that word.
No.
Mike then threatens everybody and says they're all dead meat. Her boyfriend, principal, everyone. And then promptly gets arrested. And then it's all smiles as everybody heads off on their way. Because, problem solved. Alex kisses Ted, 80s rom-com style. Back in Mrs. Farrell's class, she's teaching the class about Vlad the Impaler. As one is wont to do in high school.
As you would, yeah.
Yeah. Alex asks a fantastic question about magic lamps.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Farrell tells her that it's a great question, and that back then there were what people referred to as djinns, or as we call them, genies. Wow. Ted asks, wow, that's fascinating. What did they look like?
Okay.
And she's like, they can take any form, foreshadowing, and it's riveting stuff, really. Thankfully, the bell rings, and everybody jumps up to leave, and the teacher reminds them that they've got a field trip, as if kids are going to forget that they have a field trip.
Yeah.
To go to the Natural Science Museum later on. So we see the kids leaving for the trip, loading into the bus. Mike, who apparently has been released from his arrest, is sitting on the bench outside with his bro talking shit. We cut to the museum because they plan to, fuck the kids up, whatever, other kids.
I like that his friend is just always there and, only kind of participating.
Yeah.
And in this scene, his friend is just sad that he doesn't get to go to the museum. He's like, oh, don't worry, sweetie, we're going.
He's so sullen.
And I also want to point out that Alex was dating this horrible, racist, violent, weapon-wielding, horrible, abusive nonsense person.
Yeah, and apparently he's been stalking her for 6 months, and no one's done anything about it.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, wow, I guess this didn't lead to a good place, it turns out. Yeah. We're now at the museum. The kids are taking a tour. It was a horrible sense of deja vu for me because I've been to that museum in the 80s. And it was like, oh my God, it's that. Oh Lord, it's that. Cut to Dad with Mrs. Farrell. He's busting a move. And then he awkwardly, tells her he wants to propose to her. He tells her he wants to propose.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And she's like, oh, I'm so flattered. Let's do it later. And then he's like, I would like to make an appointment to propose to you. Whatever the fuck that means. Meanwhile, Alex and her pals are planning to stay overnight for fuck partying. Back to the tour, Alex's bracelet starts doing the tingly, so she pops out and runs into her dad's office for some reason, and magically knows, I guess because of the bracelet, that the lamp is there, even though no one told her the lamp was there. The gem starts unscrewing on its own, the gem hand. And she's wrapped, but then interrupted as Opera Guard is making his rounds. So she hides, he leaves. That whole little bit was pointless. And then she continues fondling the lamp, and it starts wobbling, and then she removes the gem, and smoke and green light spew out like powder jizz, and she screams when the djinn shows up that we can't see. So it's not phallic in any way that she's stroking a lamp, which then spews. And then she emerges from the office. Her eyes are glowing green. She clearly just got banged by the djinn. So, full of djinn pizzazz, she devises a plan that...
Whoa!
Basically devises a plan of how they're going to stay there overnight, and they're super excited because they can't wait to dust fuck.
Oh, man.
They pass this gigantic, ugly jade green vase, which I remember seeing and thinking how fucking ugly it was. There it is, preserved forever in this terrible movie.
People in the Bronze Age had terrible taste in decor.
Jesus. God. Mike and Bro are in the museum stalking the entire tour group, but apparently not being noticed by anybody. They plan to stay because they intend to murder all of them. It's just like, what?
They must have gone on a Thursday whenever you can go for free.
Get in for free. Oh my God. Back in the lab, or whatever the fuck it is, Theo, the assistant, tells Dr. Wallace that he has figured out that the lamp inscription, which he still can't read, is a curse.
Oh, yeah.
The lamp is Middle Eastern in origin. I also don't know how he figured that out. And then he mentions that the old lady, that was killed in Seabrook, Texas. That's right,
Yeah.
Seabrook. Then talks about how that, that's where the lamp came from, blah, blah, blah. Theo has a portrait of the old lady when she was a little girl, and her mom, played by the same woman who plays the old lady, and Mrs. Farrell, and is now a Keller Williams real estate agent. Great.
There it is.
And the lamp we see is in the background of this photo portrait. Yes, these folks are from Iraq. The old lady's mom, died on the ship along with the entire crew, except the captain, who was found decapitated on the wharf of every black and white ocean-faring movie in film history, which apparently is supposed to be Galveston.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Why don't you just give him a peg leg and a parrot? Like,
Arr.
Yeah. Arr, what's this lamp, matey? So, Theo is going to keep looking into it. But great. He'll get to the bottom of this because he's the shit. We get a really groovy crane shot inside the main area of the museum with this big, like, dinosaur preserved, well, fake, it's iron, but, fake dinosaur. It's a pretty cool camera shot. It's supposed to look like genie vision or whatever. And then Doc and Miss Farrell stop, and this giant, whatever the fuck it is, I don't know what it is, like a giant
It's like a tusk?
Maybe? Yeah, like a mastodon tusk, maybe. Apparently the genie makes it fall, and it crashes into an exhibit right in front of them, barely not even really getting close to it, barely missing them. Theo goes into Doc's office. I'm assuming he's going to get the lamp, but either way, he gets absolutely fucking annihilated by being ghost lifted up into the basically now light speed ceiling fan, and just like and you get this amazing blood explosion of meat blood that like splatters against the wall like somebody dumped it out of a paint can. And the whole scene is lit up with like Suspiria lighting. It's fantastic.
Oh man, that is like, as a child, that is what I assumed a ceiling fan would do to the human body if you touch the blades while it's going. Only later in life was I like, okay. You can just...
That's not interesting.
Yeah.
This is, okay, so real quick, when we moved down here, I don't think I'd ever seen a ceiling fan until we moved here, and I was kind of scared of them for the same reason,
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, my dad told me, there's this great story where when I was growing up, there was a fajita place, and fajitas weren't really a thing until about this time period where this movie was made. And there's a restaurant up on the northwest side called Fajita Willie's, which was like a big hit for a long time. My dad always called it Frajita Willie's because he's from Ohio. And he told me this story about, he was there with my brother once, and they were eating at Frajita Willie's, and this guy was playing with a baby, and there was like a fucking ceiling fan above their table, and he was like tossing the baby. And my dad and brother were just watching like, here it comes. And the guy just goes with the baby right into the fucking ceiling fan. And of course my dad and brother are in hysterics. I was like, you could have told the guy not to be careful or whatever. Like, they're like, no, we wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah, we wanted to see what shape that squishy water skull would be in afterwards.
This is my son, Fontanelle.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Vagina Willies.
Oh, man. You gotta love vaginas.
This guy, poor Dr. Fodder gets... Also, it sets the room on fire. Like, his blood splattering, like, starts a fire, but the fire doesn't matter, but it's on fire, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, fire plays into this for some reason that I can't figure out.
Yeah, a lot of the things in this movie don't tie to anything. I'm convinced, I think Tom Daley here is a bit of a Frank Henenlotter, where a lot of this is just playing into his personal sense of humor, and we're coming up on where that dials up to 11, because Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So Alex tells the others which door to meet her at, and she stays in the museum as everyone else gets on the bus to go home, and it's also storming, raining, and that doesn't matter. We see evil light twinkling in her eyes. Security guard Figaro starts his rounds. Figaro! All throughout the thing. It's very a night at the museum all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And we see that the sleeveless twosome are bumping coke while hiding in the shadows, waiting for their opportunity, because they overhear that the kids are going to stay there, so they're going to also stay and fucks with them a little bit roughly. Alex lets the other kids in through the back door eventually. As part of that, she has to lure away the other security guard, the one who's eating candy and manning the cameras. Alex decides, so they go down into the basement, and the basement has like a security slide back and forthy door, and so she gets it open. Everyone goes in, and then she hits the button for it to close, but then she overhears the two bully guys, and with a knowing and smile, she then opens the door back up so that they can go downstairs too. Cool. Security guard Figaro now finally makes it to her dad's office, where Dr. Fodder's body is still suspended in midair hours and hours later, and only now falls onto Figaro. So Figaro's like freaking out. He stands back up and is like, oh, and then all of a sudden an African stone-tipped spear starts hovering around in the air and threatens him for a while. And he's like, and so like every time he moves, it points back at him until it finally skewers him through and like spears him into a glass case that he crashes through into death. Okay. In the basements, the youths are drinking beer. One girl's beer busts all over her blouse. So now she has to go take a bath in the Cobra specimen room.
That has a fucking bathtub with a shower curtain.
An enormous bathtub. They're like, yeah, it's a bath, but it's kind of gross because it's his specimens. So she has to get completely naked in a room full of jars of preserved cobras, while her boyfriend is just standing there waiting. And since they're gone, everyone else is gonna break off into couples for some hot doing it, while the sleeveless twosome skulk around and lock everyone into the individual rooms that they've chosen for themselves. Bathy's boyfriend, suddenly and out of nowhere, has been folded in half backwards with his guts spilling out. We didn't get to see that happen. That's a big problem with this movie, is we don't get to see a lot of the really cool things. We just see what happened afterwards, or sometimes not even that.
Yeah, like this guy gets New York sliced, and nobody thinks that maybe we want to see that happen.
Yeah, yeah. Earlier with the people that were doing the home invasion, we know that the guy in the swimming pool got like ripped in half, and
Yeah.
like the full implication is that she's trying to pull him up out of the pool, and that she obviously pulled just the top half of his body out of the pool, but we never see anything about that. We just see blood and legs in the water.
Just the thought of that special effect confounded this crew.
I couldn't possibly. It would be tasteless.
Oh my god.
So, just at this point, the cobra specimens spark to life and attack the Bathy girl. The tub is just full of cobras. They are all biting her. Bite, over and over again. She nakedly falls out of the bathtub to death, her body covered in rapid, just bleeding from dozens of cobra wounds. Not venom to death, no, she has been venom bitten, or cobra bitten to blood loss death. And flops over boobily onto the floor next to her folded in half boyfriend.
Yes, we are all familiar with the infamous Cobra venom strike, but the much less talked about, but equally as effective and actually often more fatal attack from the Cobra is the infamous blood cuts thing.
Yeah. The Cobra pizza slicer.
Just
long, jagged wounds.
What do you think, venom? No, we got her. Terry, maroon shirt, is tied in the bathroom while his girlfriend is dicking around with some like costume artifacts that are dedicated for the quote Asian exhibit.
Oh, good.
Yes. Maroon shirt sees the dead tub girl and gets beefed by the Cobra, which crawls up his pant leg, and is now the second wave attack venoms his dick, as far as I can tell.
Yes, the black guy indeed got killed by a trouser snake. Tom Daley.
He got venomed in his wing wang. In comes Mike and Bro. Okay, let me just back up here a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
where are we going with this?
Yeah. The girlfriend, Terry's girlfriend, I don't remember her name, but she puts on the Asian outfit, the entire...
It's like a
Mata Hari looking thing or something.
Yeah, it's a like Hindu like Samsara festival, like full headdress and yeah.
Yeah, so she's got her, and it fits her perfectly, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is good, because then the door opens, and in comes Mike and his bro in black Speedo underwear, and one is wearing a torture helmet as a mask, and the other, Mike, is wearing some sort of old school horned animalistic, type symbolic mask of some. It's
like shaman mask.
Yeah, and obviously these guys are not planning to do anything good. They pin her down and like take off the Speedos, and we're seeing like naked butts and lots of way too aggressive wrestling with her, and Mike is raping her. It's horrible. Really horrible. It's not funny or cool or and necessary at all. You could just imply it. But no, we see that. But then suddenly, Mike's bro, we see that the torture helmet, the genie has invisibly made the torture helmet do what it's supposed to do and crush his skull, which is actually kind of cool. You see his hair stuck in the little seam. And then it twists his head all the way around, which was pretty awesome. It was awesome because they didn't have to show you. They could get away with not showing you his face. They could just show you the fake rubber neck that's been twisted all the way around.
Yeah.
And Mike is like, whoa, what? Oh. And then his shaman mask comes off, floats across the room, and then spears him to death in the gut by flying across the room, saving Matahari. It's horrible. That whole that the whole rape bit could have just been taken. There's no reason for it at all. It was. I mean, we know the guy's horrible. Does he have to be the worst person that's ever lived?
I mean, he doesn't even need to be in this movie. It's so weird because, over the course of the movie, he just becomes more and more horrifically villainous. Like, he starts with the car crashing, and then he, shoves women, and then he pulls out a knife, and then they're doing cocaine, and then rape! Then committing rape.
And it's really disturbing when they come in with those masks on. It's genuinely creepy looking. Like, it's the only part of the movie that is actually scary.
And we've established his racism in the school, and it was also a targeted rape at her, and everyone else he just locked in the room and then waited for her, locked her boyfriend into another room, and then they, it's fucked up.
It's really messed up. It takes this movie to an extremely dark place.
Yeah. Then the rest of the movie's just giggles after this.
Yeah, it's really back to shenanigans. Jesus Christ.
Tom Daley.
Alex and Ted hear the commotion, but they're locked into whatever room they're in, and they're fucked in. And so Matahari screams in. There's this torrential wind smoke going on in the room now. We cut to Doc and Mrs. Farrell having a romantic dinner at the Rainbow Lodge restaurant.
Hey!
Eating there myself. Where she tells him that she knows that Alex went home with him. She just kind of mentions it in passing, and he's like, no, she didn't come home with me. I better go see what's going on. I'm going to call home. So he gets up to call home. Then, we cut back to Alex and Ted. They get out of the bathroom or room or where it is. He kicks the door open. They find their dead friends and enemies. Doc returns to the table back at the restaurant to say that there's no answer. Teacher suggests that maybe they're still at the museum. He calls there, but there's no answer. Now he figures there's got to be something wrong because someone always answers at the museum. So they're on their way to, they're going to head over there. Anyways, Alex and Ted go out looking to find the security guards, and they find the Juji fruit guard in the camera room dead with bits of glass or something in his face.
They're candies.
Oh, he was killed by Juji fruits.
Yeah, they're little candies embedded into his skin to death.
Do you know how hard you have to throw a Juji fruit to impale someone?
Genie hard.
Genie hard. That's true.
Yeah.
Dad and Miss Farrell, or Eve, her name's Eve. Dad and Eve are at the museum. He's pushing the intercom button trying to get someone's attention. Nothing. Meanwhile, Ted gets murder-pated by the dusty mummy exhibit, which sits up like something out of a really bad haunted house.
Yeah.
And murders him while Alex just fucking stands there.
Yeah.
No, don't try and help him or anything.
It does a good bite on his fingers. I liked that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
The mummy had all of the sophistication of the crocodile outside of Rainforest Cafe.
Oh my god, if you brought your baby to see this movie, it would be terrified at that scene.
Yeah. Also, how does the museum just have a corpse hanging out without a glass enclosure? It's just there for everyone to dicker with and what's going on?
Perfectly normal. 80s.
Yeah.
The Doc and Eve get in. They find Alex, who is dumb hysterical. And then suddenly we get the coolest gin effect ever made, where like all special effects hell breaks loose, and out comes the rubberiest looking monster, all lit with different color lights and smoke, and it's ridiculous. And then he starts going, "You are mine. You wear the armlet of the keeper, and now you belong to me." He's very verbose, this guy, by the way. Now you care for the lamp. Now it will care for you. Your wish is my command. And then we get a soundtage of Alex saying that she wished her dad was dead. And then the djinn is like, oh, mais oui, but in Iraqi. So it's like the old Miracle on 34th Street gag where, oh, it says she wants shoelaces for her new shoes, and then he wants this, but then when they buy the dad, it's a switcheroo. So, anyways, the djinn tries to murder the doctor for Alex because she wishes her dad was dead. Then it chases them around in the dark, and you can't see anything, so it's really dumb. The doctor triggers the fire alarm, and then they run to the computer room, and he hops into the computer and discovers a 3D mapping schematic drawing of the lamp.
Yeah.
With the translation in flashing bright letters. Which says... oh my god. Oh no, yeah, he finds out it's a genie. A real one.
Woo!
And then, now he's still, that's right, he's still struggling to find the translation. And now the genie is pounding on the apparently rubber door so you can see the imprints of his hand pounding through it.
It's pretty awesome.
Eve pries the basement grating open with a pipe, while Doc finds as I had mentioned earlier, worst computer graphics ever, and the translation flashing in yellow: destroy the lamp, kill the genie.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the translation.
Yeah. That's the curse.
That's it. Destroy the lamp, kill the genie. I want a t-shirt that says that. Destroy the lamp, kill the genie.
That's awesome. I would buy that t-shirt from our merch store.
Oh, man. Let's make one.
Yes.
Merch store.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
Alex and the teacher bolt out into the woods, which I guess is supposed to be Herman Park, or just those woods outside the Museum of Natural Science. I don't know.
Yeah, the scenic woods.
In the middle of Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Dad is not with them, nor is the lamp. I don't really know where they're going, but they're just running through the woods, being chased by the genie. They just happen to come across Dad, who takes Eve by the hand and says, "Here, I know where to go," and leads them off into the wherever. And they come across Dad on the ground, dead, and it's not Dad holding Eve's hand, it's the genie who's shapeshifted. Great. Alex takes off, runs back to the office, and grabs the lamp. Okay. Runs out, gets away just long enough to run into the incinerator room. Where she puts the lamp inside and then goes over to the control box and just starts pounding everything until a fire starts in the incinerator. And in that key schlocky horror movie catch line at the end, she says, "Die, motherfucker!" And then she torches the lamp, and then we get a pulled back camera shot where you can see somebody on the top right of the shot with a hose shooting fire into the incinerator. So it's like, wow. Didn't even bother to cut that, did you?
Nope.
Nope, just let it go.
Leave it in.
Yeah, just shooting fire into the incinerator. And then we see the genie in there, and he's on fire, and he's going, because it's Coyton's. The tinkly bracelet falls off, and then Eve shows up saying that she made it back because it was, quote, more important for it to stop you than to kill me. That's right. Eve's a poet. They leave the museum. They come out. It's now broad daylight, and there's like one cameraman and a cop and like one ambulance and one cop car. And then they come out and they load her and Eve into the cop car, not the ambulance, and the cop cruiser. Yep. And then when Alex hears the tinkling sound, oh my God, it's the oh, hold on. It's the Pepsi truck delivering the museum's load of Pepsi. Then the credits roll, and we hear the opera guard singing, like kind of in the background. And then after the credits, we get a final shot of the guard from up above who looks at the camera and takes a bow back in the museum before he was killed. Great. Movie over.
Nice.
Yes. Nice work, Tom Daley, sort of.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that Pepsi product placement where you've got it's the glass bottles of Pepsi tinkling together, because even though the museum is on lockdown, you still gotta keep people refreshed.
As I said, I've been to that museum a few times. I'd never seen any sign of Pepsi anywhere.
Yeah. I like that they have an incinerator, for those artifacts you have to get rid of real bad.
I know, it's like, why do you have a crematorium in your museum? That's a whole other, that's for part 2.
Yeah. Oh my God, we should totally, Kickstarter the Lamp 2.
Oh. Lamp 2, the murder basement.
The Lamp 2, but now it's at Montrose.
Lamp 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Lamp 2, Rothko Chapel.
It's like 3 minutes long because they have nowhere to run.
Yeah, it's just, look, it's a big black canvas. Okay.
Let's hide over there behind that prayer cushion.
Look at this assortment of spiritual books.
Why is that woman at the front so grumpy?
We should have gone to the Twombly Museum instead.
Oh, sigh, Twombly. We should have run through the park adjoining the Manil collection to get dog shit all over our shoes.
Everywhere. Oh, yeah. Just run between that one tree. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So, this movie, have you ever watched an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I honestly don't know. Maybe.
Okay. This is basically an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I could see that just from from what I know about the show. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just
rape.
that. Yeah, plus really explicit rape and sexism and really in your face kind of badass violent special effects that you wouldn't get in your average Joss Whedon final made it to cut production, just behind the scenes maybe. Yeah, it's this. I mean, the parts of it that are good were really good. They had some cool special effects for what it was. Like we mentioned, it sucks that some of those special effects just got not made, I guess. Some cool ideas, but then also you could tell, like, as far as storytelling goes, he got kind of lost at points. He wanted things to land much harder than they did land. Like, he would, like that one with where it's her dad, he was like, oh, this is gonna be really cool. But then it was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very confusing. Like, you're talking about, like, when she finds her dad dead in the park? Yeah. It's like, it didn't make any sense. He just shows up out of nowhere and then leads them over there and to show them that he's dead. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess because he did it for her, right? So okay, whatever. If he was gonna do her bidding, why didn't she just bid him to fuck off?
I mean, I guess she only gets the one wish, and then she's not there to do, or he's not there to do her bidding. She's there to do his bidding.
Yeah.
So, like, she's under his control or something. I don't know. It didn't really all fit together very well. Like, it was more like Tom Daley had seen some cool movies and had what he thought were enough ideas for a movie, and then he made a movie out of those ideas. He was like, hey, remember Tron? Remember how they scanned a fruit into the computer? What if we did something like that, but with a magic lamp?
That's right. Oh my god, yeah. You know the entire movie was made because somebody had this dumb lamp that they got at, like, a flea market or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, this thing's cool. We should make a movie about it.
We could make a big old genie monster.
Oh, man, this is going to be... We'll make it all schlocky and fun, but then we'll also include graphic rape.
Yeah. What if we, like, really punched this screenplay up with some hate crime?
Jesus Christ. Let's not make it implicit either. Let's just come right out and say it.
Yeah. Let's code all of our bad guys as not having sleeves.
What the fuck? Jesus Christ. He's got a new wave tie and a sleeveless plaid shirt.
He looks so cool.
Oh, man. What a total dick.
He's like, I listen to Boss.
Did you guys get the new Kaja-Goo-Goo?
So yeah, I mean, it's a fun movie, except for the points when it's not very fun at all.
Definitely has some unnecessary material in it, and that's gonna really be a deal breaker for some folks. So this is one of those things where I hope you didn't see the movie before you listen to us talk about it.
Oh yeah,
because wow, but I mean, the movie itself is actually pretty amusing. It would really be a must see if you're like a horror dork and you lived in Houston or are familiar with Houston at all, especially in the 80s, because it's smack dab in the middle of it.
There it is, yeah.
And I'm gonna put, by the way, if any of you ever go to our social medias besides the two people we know that do, you should, find us on probably Facebook's your best bet, even though we don't really use it because nobody gives a shit. But
yeah,
I will go to that house and post a picture of me looking like a total dick in front of that house, maybe wearing a sleeveless shirt.
Oh, nice. Gonna look like you're gonna home invade that house.
Oh, then again, maybe I don't want to dress up like the graphic rapist character.
Well, there's also the three home invader murderers who also enjoy dusty wine.
Well, it's not that house though; it's the suburban house.
Oh yeah. Well, then you should obviously wear your nightgown.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, your man gown.
I'll just get out in front of a total stranger's house in a wealthy neighborhood and take a selfie of me standing in front of their house in my man gown.
Oh, you're gonna need a newspaper to complete the ensemble.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have a newspaper under my arm and a piece of burnt toast.
Nice.
Perfect.
Oh, fantastic. Good movie, kind of. Yeah. Well,
fun to talk about.
Yeah, fun to watch. Except for that one time, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those. It's one of those that you watch on a free streaming service. It's okay. It's good.
I'm glad Shudder had it. I never fucking heard of it, and I'm sure I probably never would have.
Yeah, probably never hear of it again, except unless Tom Daley's like, who? What do they have to say about me?
Hold on, there's a podcast about it? We've made it.
I've finally arrived!
I've been waiting decades.
Finally, I'll be the most famous Daley from Texas.
Oh, Jesus
good.
Christ. Okay.
John, what else have you been watching? What's a recommendation either for or against that you would like to provide for the nice people who listen to us talk for an hour plus?
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned the last time on Shudder I saw a movie called Night of the Bastard.
No.
But it's this really, really bad, like, contemporary shot on video, stupid occult. It's fucking terrible movie. So don't watch that.
Nice.
Also, don't watch The Stranger with Micah Monroe, who I like. She was in... she's been in a lot of things, but she was in It Follows, and I think she's going to be in the sequel. But anyways, it was originally made for that Kibi thing that was like this stupid social media channel where they produced TV shows in 10-minute segments.
Yeah, and then COVID happened, and everyone needed more than 10 minutes.
So they took this brilliant project with Micah Monroe, and they took all the 10-minute segments and put them together to make a feature film that sucked.
Nice.
So that was good. I watched Army of the Dead with Dave Bautista, the what's his nuts movie, the guy that made 300 and all that stuff, that dickhead. But it was actually really entertaining.
Nice.
It was terrible, but it was fun. I saw The Hole in the Ground, an Irish horror film about some sort of like folky monster that lives in a hole. I don't know, possesses children. It was really creepy, actually. It was really good.
Hell yeah.
And then I saw a movie also on Shudder called The Devil's Bath, which was more of a kind of psycho thriller. It's not really a horror film, but it was a period film, and it's extremely dark. It's like set in Austria in like the medieval period or the Renaissance or whatever, but it's like these peasants that live in the mountains. It's kind of like Hagazusa, this woman.
Yes.
Yeah, who gets married to this guy, and he's not a bad guy. He's just kind of like doesn't give her the attention that she needs. She desperately wants.
He's kind of a jerk off, you might say.
Yeah, and basically she's going insane throughout the course of the film, and horrible things happen, and it's really good, but it's super fucking dark. But definitely worth a watch. Definitely the best of that bunch. How about you? What'd you see?
That's the one that I have to talk about. That's directed by Severin Fiala and Veronica Franz. They did.
That's right. I probably would have wanted to see that one. That's true.
Exactly. Yeah, they did Goodnight Mommy and The Lodge, the original Goodnight Mommy. And so I watched it yesterday because I was like, maybe that'll be the one that we review next. Fun fact: don't watch that movie if you're depressed.
Yeah.
Because that movie is literally just watching a person drip down into depression until they have to come up with, they're trying to figure out a creative way to kill themselves. It's so fucked.
Yeah. Thank God, though, but thank God it's just a work of fiction. Oh, wait. It's based on actual history.
Yeah. 400 historical accounts in the German language alone.
Oh my God. Just the whole, spoiler alert, scene at the beginning where the fucking lady stands at the top of a waterfall and tosses a baby, and we see it go all the way down, bouncing off the rocks.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That movie does not pull any punches.
No. Those two directors always kick ass. Their movies are awesome. and this was like a whole process that they went through where like they heard that this was a thing, then they put in a bunch of research. They ended up like finding a specific like narrative of one of the historical individuals and fell in love with that specific woman's story and crafted this movie around her. So it's not even just a general idea, but actually crafted around a specific person's tale. And oh wow, just woo, we're not going to be covering that one because it would not be fun.
It would be a little heavy, yeah.
Yeah.
We probably wouldn't be joking too much about it, but it is an excellent movie. It's a little slow paced. If you don't like those kinds of movies, you might feel it drags a little bit. I didn't. I thought it was beautifully shot, beautifully acted. It's extremely heavy, and they do a great job of handling the subject matter. This is my favorite project that I've seen that they did. But it's, like I said, it's really, really heavy stuff. But that was a great movie.
Yeah, great movie. High recommend, but go into it on a when you're already in a good mental place.
It's the 4th of July. You've done fireworks. You got lit up and had some hot dogs. Having a great time. Go home and watch this.
Yeah, definitely go into this with some ale and brats and not like curled up in a dark room just eating graham crackers by yourself.
No, you want some happy juice and
yes, and some buddies to giggle with.
Some cotton candy and a Slurpee.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Dip your cotton candy into the Slurpee and munch on that.
Because that's not depressing at all.
No. Could a depressed person do this?
It's dipping my cotton candy in my cotton candy flavored Slurpee.
Nice. Make it blue, make it pink. It's good. Well, we've got one last piece of business to go over. That was really the only other thing that I watched this last week is going to be what we are reviewing next. I'm not going to hype it up. I'm not going to describe anything about it. You're just going to have to figure it out for yourself. It's a 2013 Brazilian film by Rodrigo Aragão. It is called Mar Negro. You'll find it more easily, but in English it is Dark Sea. Good luck.
Ooh.
It's out there. It's on free streaming services. And it's what we're going to be talking about 2 weeks hence.
Excellent. I maybe have heard of it, but I don't think so. I'm looking forward to it. That's cool. Oh my God. Okay, so you said it was called Dark Knight?
Dark Knight. Okay. Rodrigo Aragão. Aragao. But with like a tilde or something.
Rodrigo Aragão.
Oh shit. I can't Portuguese at all.
Ao with the tilde thing is more like an almost. It would be like Aragon or Aragon, basically.
Oh, nice.
And
Aragorn?
Yeah. For some reason, they just the way the language has developed, particularly in Brazil, a lot of words that start with R, they pronounce the R like an H. I don't know why, but it's Rodrigo. And then that, for some reason also that I don't understand, the last O on many words sounds like a U sound. So it's like Rodrigo. Rodrigo Aragão. I don't know. It's bizarre.
I will leave it up to you to do all the pronunciation in this movie. I will also leave it up to you to comment on how terribly done the subtitles are.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
Oh, yes.
I wonder if I can get my wife to watch it. Is it like really gross or super monstery or any? Oh, no, don't say anything because we don't want to give it away. Never mind. I'll figure it out. Are there cockroaches by any chance?
No.
Okay, so then she can there's at least a chance she'll watch it.
Yeah. The smallest thing that you have to worry about is a stingray.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a pathological fear of stingrays. No, I don't.
Oh, I was gonna be like, damn it!
But only the Corvette version.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, check out that vet.
Wow, that car is so low to the ground, yet wide.
So stupid.
2 weeks. We'll do it.
Yeah.
And you'll do it too. You'll be here with us doing it.
Oh yeah. So tune in for that. Yeah. And I'm sorry you have to die in the Museum of Natural Science.